All right, thank you so much for staying with us. The Nigerian equities market posted its strongest performance of 2025 in July, gaining 16.57%, as tracked by the NGX All-Share Index, which climbed from 119,980.4 to 139.8635 points. This extended the bullish momentum from June and pushed the year-to-date gains to 35.9%. Market capitalization grew in tandem, rising from 75.8 trillion naira to 88.4 trillion naira, driven by broad-based price gains. Trading activities also surged, with 22 billion shares exchanged in July, up from 13.8 billion the previous month. The Nigerian equities market's July rally underscored renewed investors' confidence in broad-based participation across sectors. With 5 out of 7 months closely positively in 2025, momentum continues to build, especially in sectors like industrials and banking. The move to near 140,000 points on the NGX All-Share Index places the market at its highest level this year, driven by strong earnings, rising domestic liquidity, and increased retail and institutional participation. Well, let's take a look at the performance of the market and, of course, a beep on the global space, considering some geopolitical developments. My guest is Mr. Kehinde Jones. He's a research analyst and Korea Securities Limited. It's the first time on the show. Thank you so much. It's good to see you.
Good to see you also.
Thank you so much
for having me.
All right, then. Well, I think we should start with getting your personal impression about Nigeria's stock market and the performance so far this year.
So when you look at the Nigeria stock market from January to year to date, you will notice that out of the 7 months from January to July, there's only 2 months that have negative.
Yes.
And out of the 7 months, 5 is positive.
Yeah.
So this really shows a momentum, a positive investor confidence and investor sentiment. And if you look at what is going on in the Nigerian economy, the federal government is doing economic reform policies that is helping to shape the Nigerian equity market. And if you look at what is going on, there's price stability, market volatility is quite very low. In terms of, since last year, if you look at the banking sector index in the domestic equity market, you will notice that the banking side of the market, what the banking company did last year was based on moving from their core business to non-interest margin, where they are trying to do more of money market and try to diversify their portfolio. So this year now, oil and gas is not doing impressive this year. Oil and gas is down based on geopolitical tension that is going on in the global space. And a lot of issue of tariff, a lot of issue of Russia-Ukraine war. So the market is quite running on a bullish momentum. And downward from the capital market, from equity market to fixed income market to money market, there is oversubscription in the money market side of the market, of the capital market. And you will notice that this oversubscription, institutions are not getting their allotment. So they tend to move to equity market. Fixed income, MPR rate is 27.5. It's too high for fixed income trader. They will tend to do what, okay, let me take my money to equity market. So you are seeing stability in Nigerian economy. Our GDP is quite impressive, above 3%. Inflation is coming down year on year. However, month on month, food inflation is still high. So these are playing key part in the equity market. And for a large extent since 2022, in 2023, the foreign portfolio investors inflow that came into Nigeria was around $1 billion. In 2024, it increased to $8.3 billion. As of now, I'm sure that figure will have gone above what it's doing. So foreigners are now having confidence, because Nigerian market is a frontier market, it's the emerging market. It's the market that is coming up. It's a market that is developing. And they are got to a state that our market capitalization have gone more than 90 trillion. So it's good for us. And you will notice something from what is trending. I always tell people, follow the money. Where is the money in the market?
Very important.
Consumer sector, industrial sector. The banking sector have not released their financials. However, last week, Access Bank said that there will be delay in the earnings report for Q2 2025. However, I'm still expecting positive momentum from the bank. So industrial sector also did very impressive. WAPCO have a strategy of increasing their product. And also brass cement that was trading around 180 last year, 2024, dropped down to around 76. Now it rebounds to 160. Currently in the market, today market was still on full offer.
Wow.
Meaning that seller want to sell, profit taking. But, you know, if you go to Dan Smith also have a good financial fundamentals also. So based on this, you see most of Nigeria's stock market tickers that are well placed, they are well positioned in terms of fundamental and technical analysis. And the question we should ask ourselves is that, is it sustainable? So I will now take you back to consumer sector. You know, last week, let me speak on insurance sector.
Go ahead. After the signing of the, it's been an interesting performance, I must say.
So last two weeks, you will notice that when they signed the Insurance Reform Act, you will notice that a lot of investors want to play in that insurance index. However, there's always a challenge in insurance sector, liquidity issue. So now there was a panic selling last week Wednesday, Thursday selling. People were not saying, let me take profit. There was a panic selling. But as of yesterday when the market opened, the equity market opened, we're not seeing buyers and bid and offer coming hand in hand, demand and supply come hand in hand. However, if you now look at what federal government is saying, company that is non-life assurance, from 3 billion to 25 billion in capitalization. Company like AICO, Azamaza, M-Benefit, they are not saying that you have to be capitalized by 35 billion. Company for life insurance from 2 billion to what? To 25 billion. So now, where would the money come from? We insurance company to merge, would there be buy-in, would there be buy-out? So we look at this insurance sector. Insurance sector really dragged up the momentum for July 2025. But coming from January to year to date, you will notice that consumer sector, industrial sector have been the major stock investors are pumping their money in. So my belief is that when investors are not done with liquidity issue, they'll move back to industrial sector or the banking sector. I'm sure currently now people are positioning themselves for the banking sector because of the result that will come out ending August or September. So my belief is that markets have really played well for this year. Consumer sector is above 70% index. Banking is doing well. Industrial is doing well. Oil and gas is quite not okay because of geopolitical issue that is happening.
Flip-flop in the price of food and all of that.
Economic reform policy have really helped rebound our equity market. And we should all know that the yield in money market is not quite, let me say, impressive. However, in 2024, the yield was very okay. People were pumping money into the money market, you know. Now the question we should now be asking ourselves is that, is all this positive momentum, investor confidence, is it sustainable? The next question is that if foreign investors remove their fund,
what would happen?
What will happen to equity markets?
The domestic players were doing pretty well sometime in the market. And they did, even when we had a takeoff of these guys, when they took their monies away.
Yes. So if you look back to the report from NGS, you notice that from January to February, domestic investors were more than the foreign investors.
Yeah,
March, April, what happened was the foreign investors were not playing high based on the issue of political issue, tariff, issue of this Trump, American president saying increase of tariff. So a lot of foreign investors are now putting their money away and coming down. Don't forget, there's still inflation in the US, there's still inflation in UK. And as of now, the unemployment rate for UK stands 4.7 for the month of June and for the month of July 2025. So these are really playing high in the equity market. And I believe the equity market will want to surpass 95 trillion by end of 2025.
8 banks, you've talked about banks, and they've actually, according to the CBN, 8 banks are believed to have raised their capital funds. That's based on the central bank's request and all of that. And so far, there has been less talks about mergers, accusation. I only saw one that's not yet made it official, maybe Unity, Providus. We are hearing that on the ground. We are still waiting, industry reports and all of that. But can the individual banks really emerge successfully in all of this?
Yes. We'll be seeing for the past, if you look at the capitalization policy back in from the APS Bank, we'll be seeing banks merging together. So it's possible that banks will merge together. But we should also look into where will all these banks get their form from? Is it by merging? Is it by rights issue? UBA came back to the market July 16, 2025, qualification day for UBA at 15 naira. And he's saying about 3.4 billion unit of shares will be allocated to investors. if they take up the right issue. You know, so UBA is back. So I also believe that Fidelity Bank will also come back to the market. So the question we should now ask ourselves that after the capitalization, where will all these banks take their profit? You know, banking sector is a sector that has liquidity, high profitability. We should not forget when there's liquidity, profitability should be decreasing. Because when you keep more money in the bank and you are expecting you're not using the fund, will your profit increase as a company? No. But the banking sector is trying to let us know that it doesn't work that way. The old model, it doesn't work that way. There is a new model that when there's liquidity in the system, profitability is supposed to increase. So if you now look at the financials of these banks, let me take, for example, GTCO did above 1 trillion last year. And if you look at GTCO...
With the listing in the United Kingdom.
Yes, with the listing. That's a positive momentum.
Honestly.
So if you now look at what's going on in terms of dividend payments, so UBA did about 2 naira for interim dividend in 2024. Final dividend did 3 naira. That's about 5 naira for full-year dividend. Zenith Bank also did 1 naira, and final dividend for 4 naira. GTCO did 1 naira for interim dividend, and 7 naira 3 kobo for final year dividend. So these three companies are doing these three banks are doing well. They are playing in dividend, capital appreciation, and wealth creation. So those are stuff investors want to see. So when investors see all this playing around, and the listing of GTCO in the London Stock Exchange, so this is a strategy that is driving the banking sector. And we should not neglect that the banking sector is the most liquid stock in the equity market here in Nigeria.
It is.
So in terms of, I'm expecting by the time they release the H1 quarter 2 2025, it will be massive. And most of the banking sector are undervalued. Currently, Stanbic traded around 90 plus today, while he traded last week around above 100. So there's still a movement between all these banks based on uncertainty whether the result will be impressive. The result will be good, but will it be over what we are expecting? So I also believe that in terms of quarter 3, you know, in equity market here in Nigeria, quarter 3, quarter 4 is not on the high side in terms of trading. In terms of trading. And in quarter 1, quarter 2, you will see institutionals playing big in the market. A lot of cross deal was happening in the market. And the cross deal was coming from institutionals, majorly not profit-taking, sales of shares, and they're moving high in the market. So I'm not seeing most Tier 1 bank merging, but I'm seeing more of maybe tier 2, tier 3 doing the merging. Yeah,
I think I agree with you with regards to that. But if we are to advise Nigerians, our viewers, investors that are watching us, and they want to put their money where their mouth is, what sort of investment should they be looking at now? Definitely, I know we'll talk about the equity space. Treasury bills not doing pretty as much well as they were doing earlier in the year. The percentage is dropping, kind of. But what sort of advice would you be giving investors at this time who really want to put their money in the markets?
The advice I will give an investor is very simple. Follow the money. Where the money is, you follow the money. So if for a risk-adverse investor that does not want to take risk, you can do equity money market fund, where equity fund, money market fund, you can do dollar fund. You know, you don't want to take risk. Let me just give a pool of fund, put my money there, and sit back. So you can also do equity fund whereby I know most in asset management, our equity fund is doing above 56%.
Wow.
Which is quite impressive. You can put your money there, and portfolio managers tend to do what? Do the analysis, do asset allocation, portfolio reconstruction or construction, you know. And also for someone that wants to take risk, can do in banking sector stock in terms of wealth creation, dividend policies, whether you can take a policy, capital appreciation, you can buy. Now that UBA right issue is 15 naira, this is the best time to enter UBA where it's trading below 15 naira, below the right issue. So when you buy UBA below the right issue, maybe you are buying at 47 naira or 46 naira. Currently in the market before this time, it's trading 47, 48. If you buy at 48 and you're waiting for the right issue, you are not qualified for the right issue because qualification date for the right issue was July 16. Champs also is doing right issue. So take advantage of this right issue. So when you follow the money, industrial sector, consumer sector is still there. The consumer sector, there's not stability in somehow in Nigeria economy. NPL is stable since January year to date. Yeah. Our inflation is coming down year on year. But however, month on month is increasing. Month on month inflation figure for July 2025 is 1.96. Why for the month of June 2025 is 1.68. So there's stability. Consumer sector is there. If you look at the fundamentals, the financial analysis of WAPCO and brass cement, just brass cement, the only that made up that revenue is sales of cement, which is their core business. So investors should not invest in value stock. Invest in value stock. Don't just say that you want to follow the crowd. Okay, people are putting money in this insurance, and you want to go and put maybe 1 billion just for you to take money out of the insurance stock when it's going down. You can't take your money. So insurance stock are also quite impressive. Most of them are undervalued because this capitalization will take them back to where they're supposed to be doing. So economy fund are really help us. So equity mutual fund is there. Money market fund is there also. The dollar fund is there. Invest in all those funds if you are not sure what and what. You can carry your own research analyst. And I'm looking at if you want to take risk, equity fund is quite there.
And now global stocks remain sensitive to tariffs imposed, of course, by President Donald Trump. And with excessive taxes now, my question really, not limit abilities of nations and companies to create more wealth?
Yes, so as of last week Friday, so there was a major news that came out, a report that came out based on China and US trying to extend that tariff increment for 90 days. Yeah. So this gives investor confidence. So if you now look at the market, what happened based on the last week on global market, you see that global market went positive, bullish for last week. And we'll be seeing this trend. And the issue of sentiment, negotiation between Russia and Ukraine, the U.S. is trying to do a negotiation deal. And Ukraine president is saying that he wants to give $100 billion in terms of ammunition to support this deal. So this has really improved the global space market. We'll be seeing S&P going bullish. You'll be seeing other market, Asian markets, on a standpoint of view, on a standpoint. So this have really improved the market based on what this report that is coming out. We should not forget, we should not neglect that unemployment, U.S. unemployment rates have quite increased.
It has increased.
It's increasing massively. About 600,000 jobs keep going out of, keep going into this report. So these are stuff that foreign investors are looking into, and they're trying to roll. If positively, that there's a positive news that U.S. and Ukraine and Russia agreed to this whole issue to end this war. Yeah. I believe the commodity market, the equity market in the global space will increase.
It's a good one there. Much. Had a nice chat with you. Got a handshake there. Hope to see you again soon.
Thanks so much.
All right then. Well, I think it's time to just do a brief